This tutorial will explain the use of PSICAT's Find and Replace dialog. The dialog can be accessed from Edit, Find and Replace. Suppose you've just completed describing an enormous project with hundreds of sections. Suddenly, for whatever reason, one or more lithologies used in intervals throughout the project has been deemed incorrect or inadequate. Thankfully, you don't have to manually go through your sections one by one, replacing every instance of the bad lithology with the good one. Instead, you can use Find and Replace. Find and Replace is powerful but limited. You can only replace lithologies or symbols. The replace operation will apply to every single section in your project. Anything that matches the find entry will be replaced with the replace entry. You can undo the operations you've done while the dialog remains active, but once you close and apply your changes, that is, if you click Save Changes and Close, whatever changes are active at that point will be permanently saved and cannot be undone. With that caveat out of the way, we'll show you how this works. I have a very simple little project here. It just has two sections. And in those sections, both sections have an interval that's sort of this orangey color that's a nice. So the first thing I'm going to do is replace this nice with something else, just as the simplest possible demonstration of how this works. So I'm going to find nice in my list. I can type if I want to, if it's a huge list, and limit the list. I'm going to replace nice with dolomite, let's say. So I've chosen nice for my find. I've chosen dolomite for my replace. All I have to do now is click the replace button, and we can see the active diagram changed to dolomite. This is a modal dialog, so we can't click to the other tab, but I will show you. If we save our changes and close and open this dialog, or this diagram rather, it has also been changed to dolomite. So both of our nices were changed to dolomite. Similarly, you can do the same thing for symbols. This is an auriculite. We've got one of those in each of our sections. So let's find and replace those. It happens to be the first thing in the list, so it's already ready for find. And I will change it to a bryozoan. So again, same operation as before with lithologies. Just click the replace button. It has become a bryozoan. If I save my changes and close, I can see in both sections I now have a bryozoan. Now, suppose I do something and realize I've made a mistake. Let's say I find bryozoans and I'm going to replace all those bryozoans with begaria. If I do that and realize, oh gosh, that was the wrong thing to do, at this point I can click the undo button to undo that operation and it returns to a bryozoan. If I performed a series of operations that I then realized was incorrect, like let's say I changed bryozoans to begaria again, and I change my dolomite to conglomerate 1, and I change, this is basaltic something, basaltic igneous blah. Not a basaltic flow, it's something. Banded igneous rock, that's what it is. These two intervals are banded igneous rock. Let's say I change those to conglomerate 1 as well. Okay, and now I realize, whoops, that was a horrible idea. I've made a horrible mistake. At this point, I could undo each operation one at a time by clicking the undo button. So each time I click undo, it will undo. First, it returns it to banded igneous rock. Then it returns this to dolomite, and then it will return my begaria to a bryozoan. So one by one. If on the other hand, I realized that everything was just horribly wrong and I just wanted to bail out completely, I could have clicked cancel changes and close, which would undo everything I've done in the dialog at that point, and cancel all those changes and restore things to the state they were in. So undo is a per operation option. It will undo things one at a time, whereas cancel changes and close is essentially undoing, but it does everything you did while this dialog was open. So that's the distinction between those two. And of course, if you're happy with what you've done, then you click Save Changes and Close, as we've already demonstrated. So those are the basics of the Find and Replace dialog.